After the first assortment of real Ghostbusters action figures, Kenner released many figures that never appeared in the real Ghostbusters cartoon, especially the ghosts, goblins, and monsters. But that's not to say that they weren't memorable or not fun to play with. Quite the opposite. Wave 2 gave us Fright feature Ghostbusters and their villainous counterparts, the Haunted Humans. The good guys getting the upper hand on not just style, but also playability. But 1989's Wave 3 Monsters blew the Screaming Heroes figures out the Hudson Bay, with 6 classic monsters made famous by Universal Pictures, with their likenesses being tweaked just enough to avoid copyright lawsuit. Each figure came with a frightening action when their legs were squeezed. Classic Kenner.
Let's scare someone. Who you going to call?
We're here. Sorry. The Frankenstein Dracula monster. Watch this. Get 'em, boys. Ghost! Funny guy, watch him scream. Ah, look out! Now your turn to scream. Fun to scare.
The real Ghostbusters, each sold separately, new from Kenner.
Fun to zap.
Today's feature is the Dracula monster. Let's take a look at what he looks like in the packaging. Now the packaging is all purple with all these fonts, colors, animation, photos on top. Starting from the very top, it looks wonderful. You've got all the monsters that you can collect. Then on one side, you got a nice picture of the Dracula monster exposing his fangs. And then you've got a nice, real nice clear bubble of the Dracula monster with a little bit of pink on the background to make this figure pop. And now on the back, you've got instructions on how to activate monster. Okay, it's very easy. Pictures are very big because you just press his legs, and then you've got all the pictures of all these figures that you can collect. Check them out. But nowhere in sight is Wave 1 with the classic real Ghostbusters in their classic jumpsuits. Before we start looking at the figure out of the package, I just want to take a look at the little quirky things on the package that you overlook as a kid. Especially, well, I don't think I overlooked this, the Quasimodo monster. He's a very ugly man. I never had him as a kid because he was just ugly. But like little things right here. Pose requires hand support. See instructions on back. To activate monsters, press knees together, arms open, head raises, exposing fangs. Alright. So stupid. Here's another thing where it tells us that in the interest of better quality and value, we are constantly improving and updating our products. Consequently, pictures on this package may sometimes differ from the model enclosed. Thankfully, the Dracula monster is not different at all from what we're actually getting. But on the commercial, the necklace that holds his cape is actually red. Behold the Dracula monster in all his glory outside of the package. And I love the cape. This whole figure, it's made by Kenner, and it reminds me of my favorite figure line of all time, the 1984 Superpowers. But we're not talking about no heroes. We're talking about villains. And in this case, the Dracula monster. Watch that copyright, because this guy looks like Bela Lugosi. Sure, he's got one eye closed, but that is Dracula made famous by Bela Lugosi. Look at that. The slick back hair. Even in the commercial, the way he talked. Okay, he's not wearing a black suit. Maybe that's one of the differences that they made up to avoid the copyright lawsuit. But the rest, this is one of my favorite action figures from the real Ghostbuster line. And honestly, it might be one of my favorite figures as a kid of all time. Not only was he the Dracula monster, one of the villains when I used to play with my real Ghostbusters as a kid, but he also doubled as the Undertaker, because the Undertaker was a big hit, but we had to wait 2 years before we ever got an Undertaker action figure. One of the great things about these figures is the detail and the sculpting, the colors, just the look. But one of the better features is the action feature. Look at that. But what's even scarier is once you put his arms up and he gives you that look that he's about to bite into you. Oh, look at that. Now let's take a look at him without that cape. And you see the cape, it's got little holes for his thumbs so he can hold onto his own cape. And then it unclips. So his cape unclips right here. And you could clip it back on. It's a very nice soft cape. Again, it's very reminiscent to the Superpowers capes. Real nice, soft, great texture. And now the Dracula monster. And he doesn't look bad without that cape. If you lose it, or you use it for your Superpowers Batman, or any other action figure, he won't look too bad. You have to admit, he looks a lot better with that cape. And the detail is really great. You've got his tuxedo. His collar is flipped up. And he's got tails on that tuxedo. There ain't really much of any detail on his legs. But he's got his black shoes. And there seems to be a little bit of detail on those shoes. And if you wish, you could just don the cape on him this way without hooking it onto his thumbs. That way, he can show off that ring he's got on there. Look at that. I have more Bela Lugosi Dracula action figures laying around, but these were the ones that were closest on hand. And I gotta say, from all of them, the one that looks the most like Bela Lugosi is that one. I was gonna unbox and review these other two, but what for? I've got this guy. Plus, he does this. Blah, 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 blah. Now, as a kid, I always wondered, how are the Ghostbusters supposed to defeat these monsters? If technically, they're not ghosts, they're not spirits. They shoot them with the proton packs. They kill them. Now they're going to go to jail. So I always wondered, like, okay, how am I supposed to fight them off? On my final analysis, I was a darn lucky kid to have this toy. If you get a chance, buy this guy. If he's missing his cape, go ahead and still buy him, because he's still a very great action figure and just fun to go around and just say blah, blah, blah with it. Blah, 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 blah. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and please let me know what your memories are of this figure. Till the next one. I really do hope you enjoyed this, and I really appreciate your support. Don't send me any money. I don't have any Patreon, so if you could, please just hit that like, hit that subscribe, and maybe share. If you can check out, maybe click this video, or maybe even click whatever that is right here. What is that? How did it get here? Bye!